Warning! The opinions on this podcast are of the hosts and guests only, and may contain childish humor. Listen at your own discretion. And now, please adjust your headphone volumes to an unreasonable level and prepare to enjoy the most dynamic and electrifying podcast that cyberspace has encountered.
Hello, everyone, on this gorgeous, gorgeous day. Thank you for listening. This is episode 54 of Sports Bliss.
With Rob.
And Chris. It's so good to have you guys back. Thanks for all of the love and support you have been showing us as we continue to make this show great for you guys. If you are not subscribed to this podcast, do so now. And if you're not following us on Instagram or Facebook, you can find us at Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris. Okay, so we have some sports news to get into. I have a crazy story to share. We have some news that includes Dak Prescott and college football restarting. But before we get into it, beer me. Yes! I love that sound. So, just makes me so happy.
It's awesome.
Okay, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Founders All Day IPA.
I think you were drinking that last time.
I might have been.
It's
I
all
like
day.
I like it. It's all day.
It's all day.
Easy. It's easy. Yeah.
And if you know me by now, if you're a loyal listener, you know what I have in my hand. I don't even need to say it, but I'm going to say it. But I'm going to say it anyway. My Bard's gluten-free beer. Check them out on Instagram. They are following us. Not sponsored. Okay, let's jump on in. Oh my gosh, I don't even know how to get into this story.
I know you told me this earlier.
This is so wild.
But you wouldn't tell me what this story is.
Okay, so the wife of Ravens, Earl Thomas, arrested for confronting him with a loaded gun.
What?
Yeah. So I'm going to read you the article here because it's too much to basically get into, word for word. I want you to see the picture as I'm reading it, because as I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what I'm reading. It's crazy. So the NFL star Earl Thomas is lucky to be alive after cops say his wife held a loaded gun less than a foot from his head after she allegedly caught him cheating with another woman. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It's all spelled out in court documents obtained by TMZ Sports, detailing a violent April 13th altercation, including the Baltimore Ravens player Nina Thomas and several other people. The Austin Police Department responded to a home in Austin, Texas area at 3:41 a.m. after getting a call about a disturbance. When cops arrived, they say, "We observed that a black female wearing an orange sweater with a knife in her hand, later identified as Nina Thomas, was chasing a shirtless black male, later identified as Earl Thomas, with a pistol in his hand around a vehicle."
He had a pistol too?
Yeah, she had a knife, he had the pistol. Cops drew their weapons and ordered both Nina and Earl to the ground, and they complied without incident. That's when the investigation began and things got wild.
Uh-oh.
Here's Nina's side of the story. Nina claims Earl left their home early in the day after an argument over the NFL players drinking. She claims Earl's brother Seth picked him up. But a short time later, she decided to check on his whereabouts by logging into a Snapchat account. And that's when she says she found a video of Earl with another woman.
Oh, she's a detective.
Yeah. Nina says she used Earl's Snapchat account to track his location to a nearby Airbnb rental home and says she called up 2 other women to help her confront Earl at the pad. Nina also claims she grabbed Earl's pistol, a 9mm Beretta, I think that's how you say it, in the process of the intention to, quote-unquote, scare him. When the women arrived at the house, they discovered Earl and Seth, his brother, naked in bed with another woman.
What?
Just buckle your seatbelt. It's getting crazy. That's when Nina admits she pulled out the gun and put it to Earl's head, stating that she took out the magazine thinking the gun could not fire.
Oh no, there's one in the chamber.
But cops say Nina was unaware that the gun had a round in the chamber.
Exactly.
Cops say one of the women in the house shot cell phone video of the incident, which they say shows Nina pointing the gun at Earl's head from less than a foot away, and it can clearly be seen that Nina's finger is on the trigger and the safety is disengaged. So, I mean, that kind of contradicts what she said.
No, because if you're going to scare a brother, right? If you're going to come in and scare your husband or whatever.
So she thought that it wasn't loaded.
Yeah, even if it's unloaded, you want the safety off. You don't want him to know that it's like not real. Because if you have the safety on, he can probably see it and be like, oh, you're not going to shoot me.
Fortunately for Earl, cops say that Raven's defensive back was able to wrestle the gun away from her. He better.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's a safety.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
Yeah. Okay. Cops say
I think he's about 6'6" or 6'7". He's a big dude.
He's a big dude, yeah, for sure. Cops say the cell phone video also shows Nina striking Earl in the nose before it ends. Cops also spoke with Earl, who essentially corroborated the story, adding that Nina repeatedly hit him while he attempted to take the firearm away. In an interview with Earl's alleged mistress at the scene, she claimed Nina also threatened her and the other women in the house, pointing the gun at them and yelling, "I got something for you hoes."
Are you serious?
I swear.
So there were multiple women here.
Oh, yeah. It was like a brothel. That's what it seems like to me. There was multiple people involved in this. Yeah. Okay. The woman claims one of Nina's other friends, because remember she rolled up deep with a few other girls.
Crew.
Yeah.
She got her crew together.
So the other woman claims one of Nina's other friends was carrying a knife and swinging it aggressively during the altercation as well.
Of course.
After speaking with everyone, cops ultimately arrested Nina and both members of her posse. Nina was booked for burglary of a residence with intent to commit aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, family violence, and later bonded out. Earl was not arrested. Court. It's not against the rules. Okay. Court records show Nina was also hit with an emergency protective order requiring her to stay 200 yards away from Earl and his alleged mistress.
I'm processing what you just said. This is wild.
Okay, so basically...
He was there with his brother banging a bunch of chicks.
Yeah, so they got into a fight, and he left.
Yeah.
And she went on Snapchat and found his location because his brother came and picked him up.
Yeah.
And they went to this Airbnb, and she basically caught him cheating.
Yeah.
And she knew he was cheating because she came with two other women, and she came with
that tells me it's not the first time.
And she came with a loaded gun. She thinks it wasn't loaded.
Yeah. Something tells me this isn't the first time.
I was reading this and I was like, what?
That is crazy.
That's like something out of Snapped.
Yeah, I saw the headline earlier today, but I didn't know what happened. I saw that the Ravens are aware of what's happening with Earl Thomas or something like that. Yeah. And I didn't click on it because you told me he had a crazy story, so I didn't look at anything.
No, I think it just broke today. We're recording this a couple days before this airs, so yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Insane. This makes the Tiger Woods thing look like nothing.
So I got a question. So do you think this is like a quarantine, induced thing? Because I've been seeing these stories everywhere of all these athletes getting in trouble or getting shot and dying.
You're
you
saying
think people are just going crazy being in their house?
I don't know.
Because there's this story out of here in Orlando. This Dexter Rentz, he was a kid that went to Ocoee High School right outside of Orlando, and he was supposed to go to Louisville this year. He was going to be a freshman, and he basically what happened is he was visiting his grandpa, and there was a drive-by shooting and shot and killed him. And from all accounts, he wasn't supposed to be involved. He was just kind of at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
But he was there with friends and his brother, they called 911, and they said it was taking too long, so they just tried to rush him to the hospital, but he passed away. And so
It's terrible.
The story came out kind of nationally, I think, because Shaq came out and said that he wanted to pay for the funeral.
Right, yes.
Yes. Some people think it's because it's Louisville, and maybe it is so because Papa John's is in Louisville and he's on the board and all this kind of thing.
Right.
So he's around there. But Shaq does this kind of stuff all the time, by the way.
Yeah, he does.
He does a lot of stuff
and it
like
never
this.
makes news.
And actually, he lives close to that area. He lives in Windermere, which is very close to Ocoee. So that's where one of his houses are. So he's like a local guy here. But, I saw that story, and then some guy in Miami got shot, another football player, and it's just crazy. And then this UCF guy got busted this week. He was
For what?
He was a defensive lineman. He was from, I think, Jones, which is a local school here. It was a big deal.
Jones High School.
Yeah, it was a big deal. It was a big signing for UCF because he was offered by Clemson and Auburn, a bunch of big-time schools.
Right.
And they won the state championship last year, and he was one of the main reasons. And he came out and announced, he said, no, I want to go to UCF because I want to start something new. I want to make my home team good, and be a star for them. And so I don't know what happened, but he didn't play last year. He was redshirted. He was a freshman, and he basically, the story goes, is he was out with some buddies, and this kid was underage driving. He had his learner's permit, and for some reason, he wasn't wearing his seatbelt, I guess, so the cop pulled him over, and then he smelled pot, and the kid goes, yeah, we've been smoking pot. He just wanted to be honest with him.
Right.
But then they found a gun in the car.
No.
Yeah, and the UCF guy was sitting in the back seat.
Yeah. Where was the gun?
It was under the driver's seat. He was the only one that could get to it.
No.
So they charged him with gun possession and apparently the gun was stolen. This is all allegedly, by the way. This is from the newspaper, but the gun was stolen from Walmart.
So they're basically saying that he
stole the gun.
And he put it under, he stashed it underneath.
Yep. So I'm like, are people just kind of like doing crazy stuff because of quarantine, or is this normal? I've just seen a lot more stories about this in the last week or two.
Wow, that's crazy.
And these are all guys that are really have really pretty promising careers.
Right. I wouldn't put it past it because this is a crazy time. First of all, you don't know what's going to happen, and I think that draws a lot of fear in people when they don't know what's going to happen, and it makes them act in a certain way that they wouldn't normally act.
Oh, definitely.
But then, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then also on the flip side, there's always something happening.
Yeah.
So is it just a coincidence that it's happening during the quarantine? I mean...
It may be. And like this UCF story, it's like I've noticed over the last year or two, there have been more and more players transferring out, and there have been a couple of discipline issues and that, which they didn't really have with George O'Leary.
Yeah.
You hardly ever heard of anything. And I don't necessarily think it's the coach's fault. I think it's where the program's going. They're becoming a bigger time program. So they're getting bigger time athletes and they feel more entitled maybe. You know what I'm saying? But then these guys come in. I think that comes
with the territory. I hate to say it. I
know.
hate to say it. But...
I know. And I don't know if you remember in an old podcast, I asked a question, would you rather win at all cost or have a clean team?
Yeah.
And personally with me, I would rather have a nice team that, wins a championship. But
you're not a winner.
No, but, I don't want guys doing bad things.
You don't want an Aaron Hernandez on your team.
No way.
I mean, I don't either, but he was on my team.
He was great though, wasn't he?
He was really great. But, yeah. I mean, regardless.
Forget about it. Okay, let's change it up a little bit. Let's bring it down a little bit.
Okay.
I'm going to play something that make you really happy.
Okay. Yes. Go, Gators! Come on, Gators, get up and go! Yes, that never gets old.
I knew you would like that.
That never gets old.
I know. So let's talk college football.
All right, let's do it.
Because the SEC has kind of been driving this. It's come out, the commissioner, said basically, we're starting playing football regardless.
Yeah.
You
we're
snooze,
doing it. You lose because we ain't waiting for you to snooze.
Yeah, we're doing it. He said most of our states are open. We expect them all to be back to school in the fall.
Right.
So we're playing. Now, what does that mean? It's going to be some challenges, but it's just interesting. Other people around the country are talking, and the Notre Dame athletic director said, listen, all these conferences are not on the same page. They're like, we think we could have a season and do this because we're independent and we can restructure our schedule if we have to, if people can't play us. James Franklin from Penn State came out and said, listen, it's not fair if one or two teams in the Big Ten can't play. We need to play regardless. If the SEC and other conferences decide to play, if you can't,
you got to go.
If you can't as a team, then we're going without you. And that's kind of the attitude right now people are pushing through.
Yeah.
And I really think that theory that I said about the SEC pushing through and just doing their own thing regardless, they're going to go full steam at this. And if you don't think they're not talking to Ohio State and Penn State and saying, hey, Rutgers really isn't helping the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Or these schools aren't really helping you in the Big Ten, these bottom feeders. Why don't you guys just come to the SEC? We're going to get it up to...
Break free.
Just come to us.
Come on in.
Yeah, come on in. And we'll just have our own league, We'll just have our own league from now on. And forget everybody else. We'll bring Clemson in, and we'll bring Texas, all the brands, Michigan, all of this. Let's bring all the big brands in and just Oklahoma.
That would be amazing.
And just...
I'm down for that.
We'll have a 20 or 32 team. I don't know how many teams they'll have.
But down.
They could play a 12-game schedule and have a playoff and be the mini NFL.
Yeah, I'm down.
But so they're pushing for this, but it made me think a little bit about, so how do you say everybody comes back and plays?
Yeah.
The Dolphins have already said they're going to limit the amount of tickets, right? They came out with this plan. Their stadium is about 76,000. They said they're only going to let about 15 or 16,000 people in the stadium.
Oh, come on. That's all that goes to those games anyway.
I was about to say, we need another Jags.
I mean, for real, that's probably how many people attend
I
the
think
Dolphins games anyway.
I think people are pretty loyal to the Dolphins. But so that's their plan, is to reduce the number of tickets. But so, okay, let's put this in college terms now.
Okay.
How do you do this? UF for the first time in years has actually increased their season ticket sales. So is UCF. FSU had an uptick hiring their new coach, and they were counting on it because they were losing a lot of money. So, you sold a bunch of season tickets already.
Right.
So I don't know how many people are at the Gators Stadium. I think
you
it's
don't want to have to return money.
Yeah, I think it's about 70 or 80,000 at UF. So say you bump it down to 20,000, right?
Okay.
Who do you give those tickets to now?
I wouldn't do anything. I'd say it's an open house.
No. But if you say the NCAA says they have to, right, by regulations or whatever, they still want to put the games on, right?
Yeah.
So, but what do you do now? Do you refund ticket sales? I mean, how do you do it? Are you only going to say, okay, these big time donors are the only ones that get tickets? Because if like Larry the Cable Guy, okay, for instance, he's a huge alumnus of Nebraska.
Yeah.
And he probably has a box there, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
If they can't open the boxes and do that sort of thing, don't you think that if Larry the Cable Guy calls up and says, I want 20 tickets for the game, you think they're going to say no?
No, they're going to give it to him.
Of course.
For sure.
But so what happens to everybody else, What do? Do you give them credits for the next year? Do you only give 2 games worth of tickets and make everybody rotate?
Why can't they just say, listen, just wear a mask?
I think that's what they're going to do.
Listen, the stadium is open. You can sell as many tickets. If you want to be packed, but you're not letting anybody in without a mask.
Because how are you
And you're not getting refunded if you forget a mask. That's it.
And then what are you going to do? Let 2 people in the bathroom at a time? I mean, are you going to go to those measures?
No, you just wear your mask.
No. I'm saying if they decrease the number of people there, it doesn't make any sense. If it's open, it's open.
But the whole 6 feet rule doesn't pertain if you're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know.
They should just say, listen, you can still buy your ticket if you want to come. That's fine. You have to wear a mask. If you don't have a mask, you're not being let in, and you're not being refunded.
And don't you know, as a fan, you're taking the risk?
Absolutely.
I mean, hopefully people would be responsible enough if they're sick not to go out.
Yeah, but you know how people are.
But you know what I mean? Like, if
you
you're
get that
sick,
one person that ruins it for everybody.
Oh, 100%. But, we've got to change our mindset to be, listen, if we're sick, we just stay home. Don't ruin it for everybody else.
Right.
I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. How do you deal with all this? And financially, as a university, how do you deal with it?
Well, that must be really hard.
You've already sold the tickets.
Especially if you are counting on that money to put it back into your program. Yeah. You don't want to have to refund anything.
Oh, a school like UCF, 100%. You think they're going to, well, first off, they would refund the general admission tickets. They're not going to refund the ones in like the nice sections.
No.
They're just going to make everybody pay for the nice sections in the whole stadium.
Yeah.
If they have to reduce the numbers. I mean,
like our season tickets.
Exactly. You know, like we have to give a donation and then we have to pay and that sort of stuff for the tickets on top. That's what they would probably do, because if you're only going to sell 10,000 tickets instead of 40,000, you know, you got to make the money up somehow.
Wow.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
But that we still have a few months. We don't know how it's going to pan out. Like, they might have a better plan of action by then.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
So we'll just see.
Let's see
Let's see
how it goes. Okay. So I came across this interesting story.
Okay.
And it ties in with Andy Dalton being signed with the Cowboys.
Oh?
Yeah. You know, he was signed, right? Dak
Yes.
is still not signed.
So what does that mean?
Well, that's what everybody's saying. What does that mean?
Is he being pushed out? I mean, because they only signed Andy Dalton for 1 year.
Right. But they could re-sign him for more.
I was thinking that because they want to see. I think the 1 year is contingent on how he plays for that year, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is less about Andy and more about
Dak.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, what are they going to do with him?
Because I said maybe they signed him as negotiating power, right? With Dak. Because you have a guy that's taken his team to the playoffs. He's done pretty well. I mean, I'm talking about Andy Dalton.
Yes. Oh,
right?
okay. I thought you were talking about Dak Prescott.
And you're only paying him a little bit of money. So it's interesting. So Vegas came out with a prop bet. I love these.
Okay.
The over-under for how much Dak is going to get signed for.
Oh, okay.
$34.5 million.
That's what they think he's going to be signed for?
Per year, yeah.
Is that more? How much does he normally get paid?
He was making like nothing, babe. Nothing. Because he's on his rookie contract. He was drafted in the 4th round. Yeah, Dak was drafted in the 4th round. So he's like, remember how Russell Wilson didn't get paid anything for a long time?
Yeah.
And now currently, Russell Wilson is the highest paid quarterback at $35 million a year.
Okay.
And Ben Roethlisberger is number 2 at 34. So this would make him, if he goes over 35 mil, the 34.5 and gets up a little bit, he would be the highest paid quarterback in the league.
So they think that the Cowboys are going to re-sign him for that?
That's what some people think.
But why would they do that?
Because they think he's the future, I guess. But why?
Come on. How long are they going to think this guy is the future?
You really don't like him.
I mean, seriously.
He was Dan Mullen's boy.
Listen, there has been plenty of opportunities for him to succeed.
Yeah.
And he tanks every time.
Well, yeah. I mean, he hasn't won playoffs at all.
He's not reliable. He's not a reliable quarterback. He's a very mediocre, but mediocre is not going to get you a Super Bowl.
Oh, that's cold. I love it because I agree with you 100%.
I mean, it's the truth.
It is the truth.
I only speak the truth.
I mean, I think Tony Romo was a better quarterback, and he couldn't make them win. Something about Dallas is just cursed.
Tony Romo's a much better commentator than a player.
Oh, Tony Romo's the best. Come on. But he was a good player. Come on. Yeah. He just didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're right.
But I like him.
Right.
He's supposed to be even a better golfer.
I don't get it.
Really, seriously. He's supposed to be like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people thought that he could be like a top 5 guy in the PGA if he would have done that instead of football. 100%. And that's one reason people used to bag on him, like saying that's the reason he wasn't as good of a quarterback, is because he was always playing golf.
He's a golf player?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I would have said to them, MJ played golf all the time, and he was the best basketball player.
That's debatable.
Michael Jordan?
I don't know.
I'm about to kick you off this podcast.
This is from you. You have told me that that's debatable. I think Michael Jordan's the best quarterback. I think he's the best basketball player.
Well, as I'm rewatching The Last Dance, Michael Jordan was amazing. But you know what? He had Pippen with him.
But you said Magic Johnson was way better.
I think Magic Johnson's the best ever. I really do. But then by the time Magic Johnson was playing Michael Jordan, he was so old. He was getting up there that Michael Jordan just could do things that other people couldn't do. Yeah. He would will his team to wins that they weren't supposed to win. And people would like count them out all the time. Yeah. And he would just take over games. That's what was great about Michael Jordan. He was a great scorer.
I love Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I do too. They're very close for me, but I just
Michael Jordan is more my era. He's not really your era.
That's he was. I mean, I was a teenager.
No.
Anyway, let's get back to Dak for a second. We're off topic here. So,
okay.
Dak, is he going to be over or under this?
Under for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't think they're not going to sign him for that. You crazy?
I don't think.
Are you crazy?
I don't think he's going to sign for less.
Then he's going to be sitting at home with Cam Newton.
That's what I think's going to happen. and what's his name? Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah,
the three of them will be sitting there watching football together.
That would be so funny.
It'll be, Dak, pass me another beer.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you know on Bravo.
Thanks, bro.
You know on Bravo where they have that television show where it records the people watching the shows.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be like that, but it's gonna record the three of them watching football.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh! I just signed a new TV.
Let's call it Andy Cohen right now.
Yeah, let's
sign him up for Bravo. You're a mess.
It's trivia time. Yes, and I am keeping it sports related today. Let's dust off some of those baseball.
I love baseball.
Baseball
Never
trivia
heard of it.
Stuff that you know in the back of your head.
Okay.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
How many total minutes of action are there in an average baseball game?
Minutes. 4,392 minutes. No, I'm kidding. Let's see.
No, of total like action. How many total minutes of action?
How long? Oh, of action, not of the length of the game.
No.
Oh, this is funny.
Action, because you know that they take breaks every 2 seconds,
yeah,
right?
A typical game is what? 3 hours? 4 hours? Something like that? I would say there's 25 minutes.
You're very close. It's actually 18 minutes.
I was really close.
What? When I read that, I was like, what?
Yeah.
But I believe it because they take breaks every 2 seconds.
Well, not just that. They were talking about this on the radio. I heard this analytics guy was talking. I think he was involved with writing Moneyball, the book. Remember how they came out with all the analytics and all? And that's been very influential in baseball. But they were like, basically, it's killing baseball at the same time.
Right.
Because it's turned into strikeouts and home runs. And so in baseball, they do this thing called shifts. And they used to not be able to do it. So like you can put players anywhere on the field you want, and that makes it very hard to hit the ball in bounds. So you have to basically hit a home run.
Right.
Or nothing. So there's a lot of just standing around.
Yeah.
It's like it becomes more or less and less mobile as they use more and more analytics, which is crazy because basketball is exactly the opposite. Right?
Yes.
The more analytics they use, they start shooting 30-foot 3-pointers, right?
Yeah.
And the game spaces out. They score more points, and it becomes a lot more exciting. But baseball is totally the opposite.
Okay, and let's wrap it up with a would you rather. Would you rather go to an expensive restaurant or a cheaper, relaxed atmosphere where the food is equally good?
Impossible. It's not going to be equally as good.
I mean, that's what they said. So are you paying for like the experience, basically?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. But typically when you go to a really expensive restaurant, you're not only paying for like the good service and like the experience, but like the food too.
Yeah, usually the food's really good too. I mean, like okay, so I'll go to a hole-in-wall place if the food's good, and I don't care. That don't bother me.
Yeah.
But you know me. I'm a little bougie with this. I do like really nice.
So you like your dive,
dinners.
You like your dive bar restaurant food, but you also love like your, what do they call it? The Beerman, Chef Beerman, whatever. What is that called?
The Michelin, like Michelin star restaurants.
I thought it was Beerman.
No, I think that's with diamonds.
Okay, never mind. Michelin.
Yeah, Michelin.
Clearly, I don't go to a lot.
Yeah, but there's something about like at that type of restaurant, those high-end restaurants, the like service and the quality of the food, really when you go to one of the really nice ones, that's amazing. But there's also something really good about going to a nice little taco place.
I guess it depends on your mood.
Like really good.
Okay, so if you could choose, if you could go to this place versus this place.
If the food's going to be the same
today,
quality.
or tomorrow.
Yeah, like if the food's going to be the same quality, probably the cheaper place. I mean, why would you spend a bunch of money if you're not going to have a better experience?
That makes sense. I'd probably go for the cheaper one anyway.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want to get all bougie.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You like it when you do it. You always say no, 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 but then...
Oh, stop. I don't have any time.
I don't have anything to wear.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you on the flippity flop. See you so much. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris. Available on Anchor.fm, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and everywhere else fine podcasts are found. Follow us on Instagram and leave voice comments at 407-494-6420. This has been a Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris production.